Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of FTU Life After the Military. I'm your host, Tony Rodriguez, and thank you very much for listening. So this is the second part of my discussion with Big Trucker B, Brandon. So I hope you enjoy it. And again, this is right before Christmas, so I hope everyone has a Merry Christmas or whatever holiday you celebrate. And also just let anyone you know that if they're interested in listening about topics about transitioning outside of the military, please pass on this information. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You can get us on YouTube, Amazon Music, and anywhere you can find a podcast. So again, thank you very much, and have a happy holiday and a Merry Christmas.
Now,
So that's a good point. Because I was talking about how, like, when you get out of the military, first thing that happens when you tell your superiors or the bosses, hey, I'm getting out, I'm retiring, or I'm just going to ETS. Like, well, what's your plan? What are you going to do? Maybe you should stay in. Well, don't worry about that, Holmes. Like, I got it. You don't need to worry about that. But I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I sure as hell knew what I did not want to do. So I'm a little paranoid, so I try to have multiple plans and multiple resumes. So I could apply to different jobs and see which one where I would get an offer from, and then which one I wanted to do. So I just try to plan for worst case scenario.
no, I get it. My wife might not like it, but if truck driving doesn't work out, I'm just going to become a professional cornhole player and throw bean bags.
That's perfectly fine.
It's like golf, right? I think if I could practice for 5 hours a day, if I could find that time, y'all see me on ESPN at some point.
I know a guy who retired, and every day he just goes and he fishes, and that's it. He doesn't do anything else. He put on quite a bit of weight, but he's happy. That's what he wants to do, and
yeah,
that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
That's awesome. Between yoga and some stellate ganglion box, I'm doing a little bit better than I was a year ago. But that's like your preservation of yourself, right? If you get out and you're just like, well, I have all these college credits in accounting, I'm going to sit and stare at spreadsheets. You're probably going to go postal if it's not really something you want to do.
So that's true, but I also realized being on this side of it, because the job I'm at right now, I love it. It's great. But if I didn't love it, I could move on. I could do anything else. I don't have to stay there. And that's the beauty of being on this side. It's like I can do whatever I want now.
Yeah.
Hey, so you mentioned the blocks that you're getting, right? Mental health is a big thing that we talk about on this show. I went because I had people tell me you should go get the blocks, and that's going to help you out. And I'm sure it does. I know a lot of people who have done it. And Mike from Sockham Schoolhouse, right? He was the first one to tell me about it. But for me, I needed to address the actual issues.
Yeah.
I never got the shot, so I don't know how well it would work for me or not. But I knew I didn't want to be on meds. I can't drink. I'm an alcoholic, so I don't want to be on meds because I was afraid I was going to start abusing meds. So my choice was either go talk to somebody about it or, start getting the shots. So I wanted to try just talking to somebody first and address the issues. And it was rough, but I feel a lot better. I feel like I'm not carrying 1,000 pounds anymore.
I started that way as well. I don't want to take a bunch of pills. I do know people who have, and they, it ended up just not being the same people I knew. They just turned into different people when they're on pills or whatever, or there's no life behind their eyes. So I knew I didn't want to take pills. I knew some people in my family used to do that, and it just wasn't the route I wanted to take. So I did the same thing. I talked to some providers and discussed with them, different things that could be done. And between them and also went to Intrepid Spirit to work on some stuff. I will say that at first I didn't the stellate ganglion block really didn't do anything. But then, talking to a bunch of people like, hey, you should get. There's a bunch of people who aren't medically trained at all. They're just giving you advice. You should get the second shot within a couple weeks of the first shot or whatnot. I didn't know that, so I didn't even know if it was true. But I ended up having a couple more, so I've had like a few. And I will say this: the stacking effect of them has calmed me down quite a bit as far as like mood swings. And I am more emotional, because the wife has always told me you don't have any emotion, you're emotionless. But I've had more emotion since, and you got to find what works for you too. Yoga, there's other weird stuff. They can put some like electrodes on your ears and make you feel like you're on a ship, bouncing around. But you just got to explore that. That's like your timeline stuff. You got to explore things for yourself. Hitting a bottle and staring at the wall is not going to fix anything.
Yeah, no. So I was reading an article online this morning from Military Times talking about the military saying that there's a correlation between TBIs and the suicide rate. It's like, really? It took you this long to figure that out?
Congratulations.
What the hell's wrong with you guys?
That's wild. Well, I was talking to the VFW rep who was helping me with my claim, and we were talking about TBI, and I was like, I know I've hit my head. I don't know if there's anything specifically documented. And he's like, oh, you have a documented TBI right here. I'm like, oh, I must have forgot about it because I got hit in the head. Sorry about that.
So yeah, no, I know throughout my career I had been concussed 5 times, but I only had one documented. And the lady who helped me do mine just asked, like, have you been on jump status? Like, yes. For how long? 21 years. Yes, multiple TBIs. We're just going to write that in there. It's like
it happens. Like,
yeah, nobody's going to question that.
Have you blacked out? I don't know. I know I've hit. When you hit the ground, a lot of us know that none of us are professional PLFers. Like, I don't think you can ever perfect it, because the direction, angle, and wind speed, and whatever you're going to hit the ground at is going to be different every time. You're bound to hit like a sack of potatoes.
So even with that, so I was thinking about that, right? So everything in the military, I just went to this convention or symposium they had last week on Fort Bragg because I wanted to see Dr. Evan Ellis talking about South America, right? And but it was this global SOF symposium. So it's all these basically organizations trying to sell their tech, right, to the Army. Robot dogs and super radios and whatever else, right? Damn, I just lost my train of thought. See my TBI right there. No, here we go. So we have all this advancement in technology, right? Even with the parachutes, there's been some advancement, right? But we're still doing PLFs that they designed from, the 1940s, 30s?
Yeah.
It's like, you can't tell me there's a better way to land?
In the parachutes that were not steerable at all.
Yeah.
I mean, it's wild. You're right. It's wild. It's like the tourniquet thing. Don't do it. Do it. Don't do it. Like, can we use science? Can we use actual studies, please?
It's like, we used plasma in World War II, but we're not going to use plasma now. Wait, let's use plasma again.
Yeah, I finally took it in 2017. I finally took it downrange. How long of a difference is that?
Yeah.
It's wild. That is wild. Sorry, there's like my wife freelances cutting hair. I know you don't need it, but there's some kids in the house right now.
Well, you know what? I might grow out my patchy beard, and I tried that, and it lasted about 2.5 days. Like I can't. I'm not doing facial hair.
I wish I would have kept it for today. I almost forgot about today because yesterday I just transitioned all this stuff. I had a nice one going, a nice trucker beard. And I started with the stash way down here and curled out a little bit, and I was like, I can't take myself serious like that.
And actually, I can actually grow out the skullet like the Hulkster. But I mentioned with when I was on with Al, I'm going to run for political office in 2024, and I don't know if people will take me serious if I'm sporting a skullet. So
I'm excited. I'm pumped up about that.
So if you're listening to this and you're in the Fayetteville area and you want to be part of my campaign committee, email me at arantoniorodriguez98@gmail.com, or you can message me on Facebook at the FTU Life After the Military site, or DM me on Twitter. Right now, it's me and it's my daughter. She's my director of communications. She's going to handle all my social media stuff.
Truckers for Tony. I'm in.
I'm telling you, I just want to help out the community. I'm not trying to be the next AOC or
you would never be the next AOC.
the next Donnie Trump. Not trying to be any of that craziness. Just want to help out the people in my community and let the young people know that, hey, man, you might have started here, but you don't have to finish here. Like, you can do whatever you want. You don't have to join the military for a better life. There are other avenues. Let's help out our veterans and help out our elderly. And maybe if we have some time, why don't we help out the homeless too, instead of just ignoring them?
Yeah. I mean, we pass them. We pass the tents all the time. Was that by 95 or whatever? What's that road called? I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but we're out there driving in the trucks for school, and we see them all the time. It's pretty insane how we can send billions of dollars overseas and not help out our own back at home. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, and so I had this discussion with somebody when I was still in. They're like, "Well, they're there because they want to be." Maybe some are. Maybe
it's a mindset.
Some will. If we provide an opportunity, they'll better themselves. They'll climb out of that hole. Even if it's just one person, one's better than zero.
Yeah. I mean, your average everyday, like for me, I have an opportunity to go to this trucking school, right? And opportunity is given to me because of the military. Well, say I'm just, lower middle class, high school graduate, or I'm finally over 21 and I can drive a big truck. But I'm working at McDonald's right now because I really don't have an education because I couldn't afford college, or I couldn't get into college, or I couldn't get the right grants. A lot of these schools are thousands of dollars, and I'm talking like anywhere from $6,000 to $13,000 to go learn to drive a truck. And a lot of these people don't have that money to do it, And when you do go to those certain trucking schools, they could finance you, but then you're stuck at the finance charges, and you're stuck working for them for a couple years or whatnot. Like, there needs to be more opportunities for, not student loan forgiveness, but if there's a trucker shortage, find the right people and pay for them to go to school.
Yeah, just a grant, right?
Yeah.
Like, we have all this money for, like you said, we're sending billions of dollars overseas, right? But how about some people here?
Yeah, because right now I know in the trucking industry there's new regulations. So before you could just come in off the street, you learned on your buddy's dad's semi in the yard. You learned how to drive it. You go to the DMV. You pass your test. We can't do that anymore. You have to go to entry-level driver's training. Well, guess what? You have to pay for entry-level driver training. And hazmat, you can't just go in and take the test anymore. You have to take a separate class for that, which costs money. So people want to complain about this is just one industry, right? People want to complain about this industry being short and whatnot. Well, you got to look at the regulations that were passed and how we're going to fill those positions, right? Not everybody has the opportunities that I have.
Yeah, so you bring up a good point. So I mentioned, I attended the training with Onward to Opportunity, right? Because I want to get my project management certification, right? Well, because we were in the military, because of our job in civil affairs and dealing with projects, we have the experience already. But you have to do this class, this week-long class. And if you want to attend this class, it's like $2,500 for 5 days. Are you kidding me? And then to take the test, it's like $600. It's like you're insane, right? So this organization helps veterans out, and they'll pay for the training and they'll pay for the test.
Do you get like a card that's like stamped, like, hey, this is a good project manager for life, or?
So the certificate's good for 3 years, and then you have to renew it. But you don't have to take the test again. You just have to renew it.
A refresher.
Yeah, basically. But it seems like everything nowadays, it's like these just organizations looking for a way to, charge you for a certification or for something that you didn't need before. Right, your experience was enough, but now now you need this certification, or now you need this training. It's like, I already meet the requirements. Well, it doesn't matter. We can't hire you because you don't have this piece of paper, and it just seems like it's a way to just make easy money.
Yeah, I mean, there are some waivers and military waivers that you could use to bypass the entry-level driver's training. You can get a military waiver and use some of your experience in the military, driver's license wise, and get your CDL. And somebody had mentioned to me, hey, why don't you just do this? And I was like, I've driven a semi-truck hooked to a trailer, 10-speed, manual transmission, 0 times in the military. So I'm going to use that waiver, and then I'm going to go 80,000 pounds down the road and murder somebody and spend my life in prison. No thanks. Like, come on. It makes sense for your transportation individuals, but not me.
Yeah. And then not even all the transportation individuals that are out there, because how many of them actually drove a vehicle like that?
And how many of them drive a bus and crash into stuff all the time? Like, I don't think it's very smart, but it's not my call. No,
and again, it's just something that everybody should stop and think about when you start getting close to transition. You should take your transition very seriously. And if you're a procrastinator like I am, I started planning it out 10 years before I was going to get out.
Yeah.
Because I knew I was going to start working on it and then forget, and then start working on it and forget.
I knew after my final re-enlistment, I was like, okay, I'm going to start planning now. Because 1, I don't get to re-enlist again. And 2, I'm not going to that ETS date that's on my ERB. Absolutely not. 2029, no way. So, yeah, I had a plan for a while, or a half-assed plan at least. I was like, I know I want to take some college classes. I know I want to do this or whatnot. But start picking your buddies' brains and the people who have done it before you. And that's really, honestly, my best advice is talk to the people who've done it. Don't talk to the people who think they know how to do it. Don't talk to your sergeant major or your first sergeant who has yet to even start SFL TAP what you should do. Talk to somebody who's done it.
That's an excellent point. So the gym I go to, right, there's a bunch of retirees in there, and they kept asking me, hey, are you out? It's like, they finally got tired. It's like, well, no, we're not going to ask you because you've been retiring for like 5 years. It's like, it's actually only been a month, and you guys ask me every day. And I keep telling you, you guys are just old and you forget. You know? But there was one gentleman in there who had retired about 3 months prior. This was like back in May, and he was telling me, came up to me and said, "Hey man, if you need like the name of the guy at the Soldier Support Center, like I can hook you up. I can give you his name because like he'll help you do his your VA claim." It's like, yeah, I know they put this information out to everybody who goes through SFLTAP. It's not top secret. Thank you for the assistance, but
you got to go do it. You got to go do SFLTAP.
But you always have those people like, man, I have the inside track. I have like,
yeah, I got the secret information.
This is information put out to everybody. You just need to at least be like me, where you have at least just one ear. Your good ear is paying attention, and your bad ear is just doing something else.
Last week, that guy, he's 6 months out next month, and he didn't know. He didn't know. And I was like, oh, man, bro, I'll help you out.
Yeah, and there are people out there because the military is their life.
Yeah.
You know? And at some point, you have to make that jump. You have to. I'm going to post this one episode with some man, Dan, and his advice was: if you're not sure, if you're not absolutely sure what you want to do when you get out of the military, then don't get out. Stay in. I think that's horrible advice.
It is, because then, honestly, like, you obviously don't want to be in. Like, if you're not sure, you don't want to be in. So the only thing that's going to do is just make you more miserable and bring you down, bring your mental health down more. Like we were talking about mental health. Like, my mental health has changed dramatically since I realized I have retirement orders, and I can tell a lot more people than normal F off.
So I was did an episode this morning, a solo episode. I was talking about how before I addressed my mental health issues, I was taking about 4,000 calories a day, right? And I would go to the gym, work out for an hour, and then I would go run for about an hour or 90 minutes, right? So I was killing like 2.5 hours a day working out 5 days a week, trying to deal with my mental health. Now that I've actually addressed that, I go to the gym maybe for 20 minutes, do an old man workout. And then I like to run, so I still run, but I'll run for about 16 minutes and that's it. So I'm in there for about 40 minutes tops, and that's it. And it's not a very hard workout. But I'm losing a lot of weight. I feel like I have more energy, and I'm just happier. And this is crazy. I'm not like hogging down, 5,000 calories a day because
3 Armando burritos.
Well, my thing was always like the cake and the donuts and, the Dunkin' Donuts. But I'm not trying to deal with my mental health by scarfing down Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah. Yeah, so, releasing all them endorphins through food and exercise.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get it.
So we're at about the 50-minute mark now, Brandon. So I always want to give people the opportunity, if you want to give any shout-outs to anybody out there, and if you want to promote any businesses.
Yeah, so one, it was good talking to you, man. I appreciate you having me on. There are your choice few people that you will keep in touch with even after you get out, and I'm aware of this. There are a lot of people I won't keep in touch with, and I will not return messages or calls for. So I will anytime. Appreciate you. Shout out to everybody who helped me in a positive way, throughout my career. I've had my fair share of crappy and great leadership. I've had the broad spectrum. But luckily for me, I was a little bit older when I joined. So a little bit more mature. And I have a GED. So anybody with a GED, shout out to y'all for sticking with it. And then if you're ever in this area, Fayetteville or whatnot, and you like to play cornhole, look up Send It Cornhole Association. Me and some former military and current active duty military started a cornhole association, and it's a good way to get people together make new friends and, shit talk. And throw some bags in a hole and put back a couple beers, and it's a good time. We're on Facebook and Instagram and all that.
All right, for those of you who have never met Brandon, he's been using this line his entire military career. I just have a GED. He's probably one of the smartest people I've ever met in the military. And so if you ever meet him, don't fall for that line. It's just his propaganda that he puts out to you.
I guess
to make you think he's
not
very bright.
It's on the front page of my I Love Me book. It's got a gold stamp and everything.
So for me, I want to give a shout out to Eric. Eric, who used to work out at Assessment and Selection with us. He's from Eastern Texas. And Eric, if you're out there, I hope you're doing well. I miss you, buddy.
Southeast Texas. They're weird down there. Apparently they don't put beans in their chili. I don't know what it is, but I love you too, Eric. Even though you don't put beans in your chili, you're weird.
But he does love himself some crawdads.
Yeah. He can grow okay mustache as well. I actually just talked to a couple of those guys, Dustin and Ben and all them. They're still doing good. So yeah, shout out to all them guys.
Yeah.
Dustin's currently overseas, looking for shade.
He's actually out there with Francis, and we gave Frankie a shout out.
Nice, yeah, absolutely.
Hoping she's doing well out there.
Yeah, and Dom, actually everybody that we've worked with, decent people. I remember you called me when you left, and you said, lack of better terms, everybody out here sucks. You guys are cool. You used a different term that started with a B, but it was awesome.
Well, sometimes that's how it goes.
Yeah.
So also, I want to give out just another reminder to Taco. I don't know, Brandon, I don't know if you know this, but Taco he's a French pug or French bulldog. My granddaughter loves this dog, this puppy. He has a Instagram page. He has about 18,000 followers on Instagram.
That's more than my cornhole association.
Yeah, that's more than I have in everything I have put together. So, Taco, again, giving you a shout out because my granddaughter said to give you a shout out, and we're still waiting on word if you want to be the official puppy of this podcast.
Hell yeah.
I'm sure he has a multiple offer, so I'm not holding my breath.
You need to frame that picture right behind you.
My Van Gogh?
Yeah, switch it to Taco.
All right, so everybody, again, thanks for listening. If you know anybody who needs assistance, please just pass on my information. And again, take care of yourself, your mental health, your physical health. It's important. And until next time, we'll talk to you later. Zot, zot, zot. And roll Tide.
Thanks, Tony.